I hear a lot of people say that you need a certain amount of money to do this or do that in ministry, and I've heard young people say that if I only had this amount of money, then I could reach my campus, or youth pastor thinking you need a set budget to reach the campus. And I believe that God always gives you what you need to accomplish what He's called you to do. You just have to step out in faith. It's not how much you have in your hands that matters. It's what you do with what's in your hands that counts. So you got to look at what you have in your hands and your heart and start there. It's amazing how God, He took a small proportion of food from a young boy and multiplied it and fed thousands of people. So it's not how much, it's the content, what we have in our hearts that matters in reaching the campus. And really it's loving God and building relationships that get it done. And loving God, loving people is the key. Even more than funding. Money can do a lot of things. You'll hear the old adage, money can buy you a T-bone steak, but can't buy you an appetite. Money can buy you a Tempur-Pedic bed, but it can't buy you a good night's sleep. Money can buy you a ticket around the world, but money can't buy you a ticket to heaven. The reality is money moves people further from God than it does closer to God. So the focus isn't money. The focus is God and the relationships that He puts in front of you. And that's really how you fund your ministry is you get out there and God will bring the funding. And there's practical ways. There's fundraisers you can do. Don't be afraid to share your faith with your friends, your relatives, what you're trying to do on your campus or for the campus in your local community. I believe in asking people to get behind what you're doing. So I ask everyone to be a part of what God's put on my heart. And I don't look at it as fundraising. I look at it more as sharing what God's doing through me and through the ministry that I'm involved in. It all starts with vision, and vision starts with your personal relationship with Jesus Christ. We can't roll out of bed and live unintentional lives. You got to get out of bed, and usually get up early is always a good key, but get up, get after it. I believe that reaching your campus starts inside in your own relationship with Jesus. And then, it's your home, your block, your city, or your school, your city, your state. But it starts in here. And that's how you affect people around you. That's how you get people involved. And there's people in your town that want to help. There's doctors, there's lawyers, there's other school teachers. There's people that want to be involved in your ministry. The dots just haven't been connected. So it's so important that we're building relationships with people out there, because we don't know how God's going to orchestrate it, but he will fund the ministry some way, somehow. But it's key that money isn't the key thing. It's money, but money doesn't do it. It's us getting out there and sharing God's love with people that does it, and that's what brings it together. And that's how you fund your ministry, whether it's the campus or anywhere else. It's through godly relationships that He ordains and orchestrates. Reaching your campus with a zero budget, one real important thing is relationships, building relationships and maintaining relationships. If I could put one word in funding or sharing God's love, it's relationships. And I'd go into a school and I would go and try to meet with the principal. I try to meet with assistant principal, a coach, whatever your inroad is, go there. I had a lady once tell me that when you go onto the campus, you need to be like water. When you pour water out, water flows wherever it can go. So if the principal won't let you in, maybe it's through a band director, maybe it's through a parent on the PTA or someone that's connected to the school, but water flows where it can go. So when you go to the campus and you're going to reach it and you don't have a lot of funding to do that, you need to flow where you can go and allow God to work those relationships for you. Another thing is key is a lot of people I think are fearful of the campus, and it's hard for them to step out in boldness. And it's a challenge to be out in the marketplace. It's a challenge to be outside the four walls of a church, but you need to be bold and just go and do it. And someone said, well, how do you do it? Do you build up no, you just boom, and you go in, you make your first appointment, you go tell them what you're about, and you're prayed up and you're ready to go, and just get in there. And it's amazing how God shows up in those moments and those times and gives you what you need to get the job done. And God equips those who go. God doesn't equip those who don't step out in boldness and with passion. And everyone, I've been speaking in schools for over 13 years, and still when I step onto a campus, there's fear, there's anxiety, but I pray and I'm walking to those doors and I'm saying, God, help me, give me the right words, give me the wisdom. Lord, help me hear. So often we go into school, we have an agenda, we want to tell them what we're thinking, but we have to go in there with ears to listen. So I always pray, God, give me ears to listen so I can hear their story, hear their needs. Even if I'm talking to a principal, I know he's in charge of the school, but here's a guy that needs Jesus maybe and needs his love. So you need to hear what he's saying because everyone's crying out in one way or another. So it's so important that you have ears to hear and then just get in there and listen. And so quite often we have even youth pastor or a student, quite often we have a tendency to overtalk when we get into these meetings, and you just get in there and you listen, and they'll tell you what you can do and what you can't do. They'll tell you their needs, and I'm always follow up with campus ministry with thank yous. We've sent gift cards, coffee cards, dinner cards to principals, to coaches. We always are thankful because it's a relationship. You're building an ongoing relationship, not just a one-time thing, but something that's going to be ongoing. And I've went to principals and they're totally against what I'm doing. They don't want me in there. I still send them a thank you card. I might even buy them a gift certificate to a restaurant, and it costs me a little bit of money. But the great part is I'm building a relationship. I'm there because I care about them and because I love students.